I just feel like I don't feel like I don't gotta curse and yell. I don't feel like I have to do like
You should. You 100. Listen, you classy. What you're correct about, honey, you should not be doing that. And I speak on this often. Women that fuss at their sons, they fuss, they cuss, they raise their voice, they argue at them. And I'm 100% agreeing. The boys be doing shit wrong, right? Not arguing with that. But our approach with the fussing and the cussing, you are making your son, so you're right about not doing this. You are making your son programmed to be comfortable with this as a habitual behavior. So they get grown and they become grown black men that are okay with women fussing and cussing and disrespecting them because it feels familiar to what mama did. And then some of them develop a complex if they get in a space where they could never find an emotional comfort with this. They will then go out in the world and get upset and run from any situation where they have women operating like this towards them to where they can't even set boundaries. They have to just run. So listen to what I'm saying though. You're correct about not doing that. But if you were on the same page with me, with what I'm saying about male influence, the disciplinary issues that you're having, you be expressing them to their father or your baby daddy or a male role model that can then come in and talk to them about their behavior. In our community, we have set up so many households with this single mothering shit that people feel they have no choice but to chastise and discipline their boys themselves. And this is what creates men that have issues with women.
So I guess I'm saying I don't think I don't do it enough these days.
Do what enough?
Like I don't have to do it that way, but just like get on them.
So you getting on them should be uncomfortable talks. Has nothing to do with raising the voice. Has nothing to do with any other stuff that you used to do. So if I'm your son and I fucked up, there should be these serious talks that me and mom have where she expresses what her concern is from a positive parenting space, and she allows me to speak and gets my viewpoint, but ends it with me making sure that I understand, she is a woman in a abnormal parenting situation where she is head of household, and we don't need a power struggle. Like, I understand you're a young boy growing into a man. So I'm not trying to cut you off at the nuts, castrate you, emasculate you, but mom is always going to let you know X, Y, Z from a giving you game space on how we need to keep home safe and comfortable, and there will be still consequences to your actions without all that fussing and cussing. Most of us don't have the emotional maturity as a mother to do this, right? When you run a household independently, you get aggravated easily. You never spend any time, get any skills on managing yourself, things like this. So you end up in a space where all you do is fuss and cuss at your boys, and it creates, a lot of the issues that we have as women as we're trying to date men that come from these situations. So really, you need to have more uncomfortable conversations, and you may need to build on exactly what I think Jessica said before you, which is being a better communicator to my children.
Well, we communicate well. I just think sometimes I let them run over me.
Okay, so when you say we communicate well, right? If you were communicating well, there wouldn't be this space of them running over you because they would receive your communication of how you wish them to behave.
Okay.
Do you see what I'm saying? When I'm saying better communicator, I'm not saying you fussing and cussing at your children like before. Like, here's what I will say. As we start this parenting Zoom, lose your fucking egos. And you may not know that you're in your ego, but you are in regards to not wanting stuff to be labeled something, but it is what it is because it shows up in what you're describing about what's going on. Healthy communication executes a purpose. It gets across an understanding. Any other communication is just talking, right? Which, if the results don't equate to what we set out originally to talk for, it wasn't good. So it could be bad by yelling. It could be bad by us sitting here talking and not getting nowhere. It could be bad by, we talk and there's never a compromise in the parents' favor. Still makes it bad. Because you're talking. The kids ain't really learning shit because you still feel like they're running all over you because you laying down. So now give me an example of an area, Classy, that here is where I feel like on this particular topic I'm laying down too much.
Like, okay, I'm going to use my 13-year-old because it's my baby, he don't do too much. Okay, my 13-year-old. He'll forget to pull the trash to the road.
Okay.
So, me, you know the trash go out on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
You know this.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you forget to take the trash out on Sunday,
mm-hmm.
and I done told you about this a few other times,
mm-hmm.
it's not every week, but I done told you about this.
Mm-hmm.
And when you don't take the trash out to the road, and when you come home from school and your game sitting in the room or in my
mm-hmm.
closet on the shelf, and I ain't staying, and I just won't say nothing, and you come and you look at me crazy, like, Mom, why did you take my game? And I'm like, you didn't take the trash out.
Okay.
What you leave the game for?
Okay, so here's the thing. And this is why I stress about men, right? And I love what she described. Boys have to be taught to work their mind, right? They have to be taught to think. It does not come naturally. So what she's describing, we all understand it as adult women, right? And Frank, you know what I'm talking about. When it comes to you coming in and taking the game, right, without some sort of conversation about the activity that you expected him to do or the chore, you're reacting. You're not parenting. You're not programming. You're not teaching. You're reacting, and it's ancient. Because this is how a lot of us were raised, where they tell you something a couple times, and based on this concept that you're supposed to obey and know what the fuck to do, they come in, and if you forgot, if you didn't do it, it's straight to them reacting to what was not done. And half the time, the child's mind is not in the same space as the adult. Now, when you take parenting classes that explain about the stages in the development of children's brains and how many thoughts go across their mind, it explains this. That half the time when parents think that a child is being defiant or disrespectful or insubordinate in regards to doing something they were told to do, they actually aren't. The way their brain is functioning is not lining up with the way that yours does, right? So if I'm your son and I want you to be honest, say to me what you would say. It sounds like you come in, the garbage ain't took out. You're immediately, from a parental space, upset about that. And you go in, you take the game, and you don't explain to me why you're taking it. You expect me to know why you took it, correct?
Yeah, if we've had this talk before, you do know.
Okay, so I know so I want y'all to understand what I'm saying. I know of this task from you explaining it, right? As a parent, what you're trying to do is teach me and program me for this behavior to become habitual. Do you understand that?
Yep.
Okay. So describe to me, I'm your son, you're the mother. Describe to me, if you took a stab at having a conversation about this, what would you say? And we're going off of, you've already told me about taking out the garbage multiple times in the past. I'm your child. You come in, you take the game. Mom, why you took my game?
And it goes a little something like this.
Say, I want you to go. Mom, why you took my game?
I'm telling you, like, Jadon, you know that you were supposed to take the trash out.
Well, I forgot.
About
when I got home, I put my backpack down, I had got some food, and then I wasn't thinking about it. Can I please get my game back? No, Classy, don't laugh. Say what your ass gonna say.
When it goes like that, I give it back.
Okay.
And that's what I be telling you when I tell you that's when I feel like I be laying down.
Okay, cool.
That's when I feel like I let them run me.
Okay, cool. So we're going to get into understanding, especially with boys, right? Men, especially as they develop into young adolescents, there is this space of needing to feel respected, useful, right? Mm-hmm. Respected, useful, needed, right? These go hand in hand. They're all like one and the same. So the idea is you need to have a talk with him in regards to explaining why his role as the garbage taker outer for one of his chores is important. he needs to understand the dynamic of what it does for the household. Because what it does is it takes a small task like taking out the trash and turning it into something where I have a value now on me based on contributing this to the household. When children don't get this kind of responsibility early on, they just end up going into a space of playing with games and having fun and not really giving a damn about much. Do you see what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying, but it's like this been a battle with me. This been a battle for about 8 months. So I don't know.
Okay, Classy, listen. I don't know.
But I get exactly what.
No. I don't know.
But I get exactly what
No.
you're saying.
You used we, me, your brothers, us that live here. We don't want trash piled up to where our house stinks and people may think or we may look like dirty people. That's one. Give me some more reasons why taking out the trash is an important task to contribute to my family unit. So I love the pause, right? The reason why I love the pause because it shows. No, and I like that.
Can I tell you the conversation I had with my son about trash?
Yep. So hold on, Frank. So here's where we have to start being accountable as parents, right? And I'm going to definitely let Frank elaborate. You have to start being real that outside of her telling her son that's what the fuck he need to do, she don't know no other reasons as to why to describe to this young man that this task is important, right? So, for example, when we talk about, okay, we don't want the garage smelling, right? The other part of it is this is a part of things that men do, right? So when we talk about a household, if you want a woman that is feminine and not, you want a girlfriend that's going to look at you a certain way. So we can get into I'm raising my sons up to be respectable young men. Girls and women, the pretty girls, the type of women that are nurturing, the ones that will, be the type of woman that mama and daddy may want to see you marry or settle down with one day. These women like men that are chivalrous. They like men that are polite from a male space. Meaning the guys that are willing to take on the task that when you look at women, they don't take on. Do you see where I'm going with this? So however you choose to word it to your son, explaining to him respectable young men, and watch how I get off the garbage topic, right? Because this ain't just about garbage. It's about me teaching you behaviors that grow you up to be the type of young man that attracts respectable women, right? Women of substance and that are not overly independent and that are in a space where they want to boss niggas around and tell their baby daddies what to do. They like doors open for them. They like the trash taken out for them. They like for men to solve and fix certain things that come up from a space of heavy lifting or dirty jobs. If the toilet gets clogged up in your house when you get older and you have your own girlfriend, she's going to want you to take first stride at solving this, or at least the initiative to get with a plumber and understanding what sort of job in your bathroom needs to be done. Like, you see, I'm having a more well-rounded conversation with my son than just, oh, you got to take the garbage out because that's what you need to do. Do you see what I'm saying? The other side of it is when we talk about taking the trash out, Classy, we have the garbage man come on a certain day. If we miss him, right, our trash will pile up. If our trash piles up, meaning you forget day to day, because it's not the end of the world if you forgot to take the trash out on Monday. The garbage man will eventually come again on Wednesday or Thursday. But when you let jobs pile up, especially physical labor, it makes it to be more work for you. It makes it to be more work for you. Do y'all see what I'm saying? Classy, do you understand what I'm explaining?
Yes, I do.
The other side of it is Mom, here is my job. So I'm going to get off of talking about what I need my son to do. Mom, there are times I don't want to get up and go to work, but I know if I don't go, we're going to have bills that become due when I can't pay them. The lights may get cut off, or we may get an eviction notice. This is what happens when, when it's time for you to do things that you don't really want to do and you don't do them. So the same way, if you don't get up and take the trash out, and this is your chore that has been given to you, you're responsible for this. So you're responsible, son, for making sure our house smells good, trash doesn't pile up, that you are showing Mom and everybody else in the house that you are a man to be respected. Men that are respected can take on responsibility without having to be baby in regards to getting tasks done, right? Mama don't always want to have to tell you what to do. You're going to show me, that you're growing into a young man, right? By putting your video games second to what things you need to contribute to the household, because you're valuable. As my son doing this particular task, it may seem like, it's just taking out the trash, but that is an important job. And it's equally as important as the stuff that mom has to do. And I can go through a list of things as mom that I may not feel like doing, but I do it because I know in my role, these things are important to my children. You see where I'm going with this? This is talking to your kids as a good communicator, putting a wide variety of things into perspective rather than just saying you need to take the trash out because I said so. The other part of it is, if you're my son and you forgot, Classy, do you not forget things?
I do.
And have you ever forgotten some of the important things?
I have.
Anybody ever made a late payment on something? And not because you didn't have the money, but because I genuinely forgot about it.
I did it. Definitely.
Okay, so when I talked about forgetting to put the trash out piles the job up, that's another part of the conversation to be had. Because mommy forgets stuff too, right? So the idea is, Classy, even if you gave the game back, I'm giving it back with some game.
Gotcha. You
see what I'm saying? And I'm going to give you the grace to develop a set of habitual behaviors that allow yourself, right, to be able to get this down pat without me taking your game or fussing at you. The other thing is, if you understand books like Atomic Habits, and it talks about things like habit stacking, right? You can take a positive and mix it with a task that's not so attractive or comfortable for you to do. So, for example, if you made it where after school or whatever days the garbage is supposed to be taken out, right? Even if it's a daily task, my game goes after I do that. And let's put that hand to hand. So I'm going to get you a set of sticky notes, and every morning I'm going to write on your video game, take trash out. So as you pop the sticky note out and take the trash out, that's your cue, right? To go then be able to play your game. Do you see where I'm going with this, Classy?
Yep, I do. And I like that. I do.
Is there anybody else that's benefiting from this part of the conversation?
Yes. Oh, yeah, definitely.
We have to start being this certain way with our children that doesn't match reality. And then when we grow up as adults, they realize we was full of shit because the whole forgetting of doing important stuff. This is why when your kids get older and you tell them you're going to do something and you don't, they give you a lot of attitude because you gave them a lot of discipline and cold shoulder and chastising when they forgot stuff, as if forgetting things was not something of importance. Do y'all understand what I'm explaining? Okay. Frank, go ahead. What did you want to tell her?
The conversation I had with my son, he used to do the same thing. He'll let the trash pile up. Now you got trash on the floor. You got trash. He didn't kick paper all the way from the floor to the kitchen. Mm-hmm. That means he didn't walk past the trash. So what I told, first I asked him some questions. Mm-hmm. I asked him, how many times have you seen that trash can today? And of course he tell me, I don't know. I said, well, if you go upstairs and you walk to the back of the house to the front, how many times you pass that trash can? He say, well, I think 2. I said, you think? I said, go do it. So he passed by it. I said, we're gonna just say 2. So how many times you think you walked through this house today? Just guess, just pick a number. He say maybe about 40. I said, so how many times that mean you passed that trash can while I was full? It was like, I think a lot. He didn't even count. He just said a lot. I said, you're right about that. I said, so it's only me and you in the house. This trash can get out of control, or we can be in control of the trash because we the one making the trash. Mm-hmm. I have a job to do. You have a job to do. Some of the jobs, we both do this job. I said, but we are a team. Sometimes I take out the trash, and sometimes I require you to take out the trash. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, it's going to be your job. I'm making it your job. Mm-hmm. I said, so every time you pass the trash up, that means you done failed. So now the team is not even working no more. Mm-hmm. So now it's going to go from the trash can, and then it's going to go from the trash can to the kitchen. So now the kitchen nasty. So now the floor nasty. So now the living room nasty. I said, what does it say about you? I forgot. I said, well, it's cool to forget things. I said, but now it pours over to the next day. So now you got 2 days of trash.
Makes the job bigger.
So now instead of just taking this one little small bag out, now you got to take this 2 bags out, and one bag is leaking. Now you got to mop the floor. Now we can't get this out the rug. Now we got to scrub the rug. I say, do you understand what you just did by forgetting to take the trash out?
You make the job bigger.
He said, yeah, I made a bigger mess. I say, yeah, but on top of that, now the house stinks. So even though you clean it, you still can smell it. Now it's in the walls. Now it's in the furniture. Now it's in everything. Mm-hmm. So now, just by you forgetting the trash, now we both got a big job. Mm-hmm. Now you can't go outside. Now you can't play your game because we got a lot of cleaning to do. Mm-hmm. I said, so in order for us to keep everything moving, like at a okay pace, to where when you ask me for something, I don't have nothing to say. Nah, you didn't take nothing out. Now you good. I said, you have to learn how to teach yourself to eyeball that trash every time you go through this house, out the door, in the door. You got to do that. Mm-hmm. I said, that's a job. That's my job. Mm-hmm. I said, but when dad is busy, what is your job? Yep. I know you like to play the game. I know you going outside. I said, so this is what I'm going to do. Every time I see the trash full, or paper on the floor, and the trash is full, that means when you get some business, it becomes my business. I'm not gonna tell you to take the trash out anymore. It ain't no problem. We both can let it overflow. I said, but the second you want something, guess what I'm gonna think about? He said the trash. I said, so good luck. You gotta think, man. It's your responsibility. I'm telling you, it's your responsibility. So if you forget it, that means whenever you want something, I'm going to something else. So I don't even want to talk about what you want until I get what I want. And we both happy.
The idea is, and I love what Frank shared, the idea is you have to teach boys to work their mind. You have to teach them to think. And you have to teach them that the jobs that don't seem so fun and so attractive are still important to the family unit. And I'm going to tell y'all something. A lot of what y'all sons are seeing out in the world is that it ain't cool to be a garbage truck driver. It's not the cool thing to do to work in construction, or it's not the cool thing to do to be the mechanic, the auto mechanic that works on cars. It's not the cool thing to do to be these particular jobs that they are the bread and butter of how the world functions. If you really understand what I'm explaining, you'll understand I have to have more of these talks with my child from a space of grace. I can add consequences in, but I have to make sure they understand the value of doing these things. And it cannot be just because I said so. That's not mature. In this day and age, these children are mentally able to process you speaking to them if you are logical and giving them grace about what they think and feel on their own before your talks. So if you're mature enough to accept your child's viewpoint on certain things and you're able to receive that, you can reach them differently than a lot of parents that's parenting off of ancient styles where they just bossing the person around. Because a lot of us, when we hit the world, all we knew was how to maintain relationships based on doing what each other told each other to do. And then when it comes down to compromise, when it comes down to swapping perspectives and understanding things from a different view, we sucked ass at that. Mm-hmm. Which is why a lot of us is so uncomfortable to be in a household that ain't set up the way we want it. Home does not become symbolic of a safe space. Classy, does this help you?
Yeah, I get it. So basically what you're saying is...
You need to be a better communicator. That's all I'm saying.
When the next time it
With,
happens,
and this is with
like,
anything, a better communicator, anything that I'm trying to program my boys to have habits with. I just need to be a better communicator, able to elaborate and offer them a bigger perspective on the situation. That's it. It's the same as what Jessica said. Better communication with my boys on helping them see the bigger picture. Taking out trash, keeping your room clean so that, like Frank said, the other moving parts of what this affects in the household gets done. The other part of it is like when we talk about them cleaning their rooms and things like that. It's not about your room need to be clean because mama said. A lot of times when you have a junky ass room, you struggle to find things in a timely fashion. So when it's time to go places, when it's time to do certain things, you create more friction for yourself, more discipline, more chastising, more rushing for yourself by not being able to just go and get it. And you put things into perspective. Imagine going to the grocery store if everything was just mixed in, there were no signs on the aisles, and you just had to find things on your own. You'd probably eventually find stuff, but without the organization, it would suck up more of your time. Same if you're looking for your favorite pair of socks or your football cleats or your helmet or your mouthpiece that go to this. If everything is just mixed around in your room, it's taking up more of your time. Time is the most valuable thing that you could have in life. But we don't say this to children. We teach them the most valuable thing is to obey what I said. Nobody gives a fuck about cleanliness being next to godliness. That's a fucking saying that somebody said to you that, ooh, that sounds catchy. Tell me the real reasons why I need to fucking clean up. Tell me the guns and butter, the real shit about why my room needs to be clean. Tell me about the germs, the bugs, the bigger job that it creates when you finally do have to clean up. Because we can clean up less. Ain't no rule saying that we have to clean up every day. There's no law where we're going to go to jail if we don't clean up every day or we don't organize things every day. But like Frank described, the job gets bigger, right? As we allow the shit to pile up. Stuff becomes more difficult to find. You got to be able to put things into more perspective than because I said so. Who else? What is that thing? Go ahead, Sierra.
So, like, I know a lot of knowledge because I do parenting classes.
Good.
You know, I've studied human growth and development just in my, because I'm a nurse or whatever. So we had to study all of that stuff. And I know the things to do. I read parenting books. I know about brain development. I have a hard time managing myself. So, like, me trying to stay calm in the moment when I'm kind of, like, frustrated, but I want to teach the kids something in that moment because it may need to be addressed at the time, but I can't keep my cool. And
right.
So
it's managing your emotions.
Definitely. That's the biggest problem I have.
And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to say it again. We have to get out of quoting shit that was said to us. We have to get out of wanting things to happen right. If it's not regarding safety or full necessity for the livelihood of the family, give your child the grace to get an understanding of what and why you want them to move like this. And children learn at different paces and different levels based on their personality, based on the trauma you took them through, based on the lifestyle that you created, based on the stuff that they've been introduced to through the way that you've been parenting. And this is why a lot of ignorant parents result to just saying, that's what my mama did with me, so that's what I'm doing with y'all. Get your behind in there and do what I tell you to do.
They're going to watch what we do as well as what we say. So you can say whatever, but if you're doing something different, that's what your kids are going to model. How does mommy respond when she's mad or when she's upset or when she's sad or when she's frustrated? They're going to look at what I'm doing, not what I'm telling them they should do.
Yep. But also, Sierra, if they understood more of the bigger picture and they understood that you may be working on this, like mommy doesn't get this right all the time as well, but she is working on this. Here is where we're trying to get to. They can understand it better. And kids are the best at helping hold you accountable.
Yes, and we definitely have those conversations. This is something that mommy's not good at. I'm still working on it. So then we'll have stuff where my baby be like, Mom, I'm starting again. So she'll bring me down a little bit.
Yes. And it's necessary for your children to see you working at things. In our culture, a lot of the way that we were raised, the generational curses, has to do with our parents making it seem like the way that they did stuff was the best way. That's where this whole saying, I did the best I could, came from. Because you're unwilling to be accountable that you could have done better, that you could have done different, that there was more than just one choice other than the way that you chose to do it. You eliminate all those things even being a conversation by saying, I did the best I could. And then you make it disrespectful to question the best you could. So A, you did the best you could. No room for accountability on anything else. There were no other options. I did what was the best that I could do. Boom. Then from there, you make it where if I try to take new knowledge and challenge what was the best you could, or question or offer a conversation that you could have done things different, I'm being disrespectful. Then on top of that, you take your fear of being accountable in the uncomfortable conversations and you use religion to then manipulate and control me by quoting that the Bible said, obey your mother and father so your days will be long. So you make me feel like if I don't shut up about, things that I'm seeing could be handled differently, I'm going to die early. Think about the fucked up. This is what we were parented on. So you don't question old folks. You can't tell them when they're wrong or when they could have done better. And then you don't realize I didn't like it when I was younger, but it feels so comfortable to do to the children and the younger generation that I'm raising. So even though it felt fucked up being done to me, I still do it to others because it feels more comfortable than being accountable.
Yeah. And love, a lot of times I hear people say like we joke around like, but did I die? Like, all these things happen to us, but we're fine. But honestly, we're not fine. Like a lot of people are going through stuff.
Yes.
And we're just,
Yes. The thing is, some of the things that were said to us, you get told it's a roof over your head and I'm paying bills. Ain't nothing wrong with you. So you get told this, and guess what? The belief it creates that if I got outfits to put on, if I got a roof over my head, right? If certain bills are being paid and I'm eating, then all these mental health issues, I can ignore them because I'm all right. You all right? You all right? You all right? Your mind saying we ain't all right. It's stuff to address. It's emotional things. Like, I don't like how he's treating us. I don't like how this is being done. On the other side, it's the belief from your subconscious mind is saying, you all right, girl, stay in that relationship. Don't you got a roof over your head? Don't you got a car to drive? Don't you eat? Don't your kids got somewhere to lay their head? Be grateful. You all right? You all right? You all right? And then by the time you reach mid-age, you're fucked up mentally, and you believe your worth and your value lies in this idea of roof over your head. You got a car. This is why I constantly say, just because somebody goes to work and pays their bills and dresses in nice outfits does not mean they're a good person. Does not mean they're healthy mentally. It does not mean they're healed. It does not mean they have good character. It does not mean they co-parent in a healthy space. Does not mean they're parenting those kids in a healthy way. But in our community, we believe outfits, wigs, designer, certain cars makes it look like you are some sort of good person. And this is why we get our ass ate up in relationships and friendships, backstabbed, lied to, no boundaries, can't see shit coming because sis wig looked good, her, foreign car looked nice, and she got a nice body and she go to work. So it seemed like she was somebody to trust.
Mm-hmm. Yes, basically similar to the concept of high functioning depression, where a person is doing their day-to-day ADLs, their activities and stuff necessary to be a basic functioning adult, but you're still fucked up, so you're basically a high functioning fuckhead.
Yep, 100%. Yep, 100%. Who else? What is that thing with parenting that you're trying to conquer?
Me, love, Ophelia, it is parenting out of guilt. I did so much fucked up shit in their youth that is parenting out of guilt. Mm-hmm. Case in point, one is I taught a CPS case when my twins were me and the baby daddy beef, and I guess they come out if you have an argument. So it turns into a CPS case. And from that, I've just had this fear of chastising and this fear of discipline, healthy discipline. So I really, really struggle with that. And another thing I must struggle with, and I'm just going to be transparent, is some of the stuff I got to do at 14, 15, 12, 13, they're not doing. So I don't know that boundary too. I'm like, damn, they ain't as bad as I was. They're doing good. So how do I now begin to introduce, I want better, don't get me wrong, but they're not doing worse.
So two things, right? And I love what you presented or what you brought to the conversation, because this is a thing in our community. This is why, women don't like to hear me state the facts about the statistics in regards to single mother. And we produce the worst product when we try to raise children by ourselves. We're not by nature built to be doing everything in the fucking household, from the providing to the nurturing to the mothering and trying to father too. Fatherlessness affects our community in a negative way. And so in their inner, a lot of women know this, right? And they don't know it to the extent in which I know it, but they know it to the extent where it triggers them. And so what I mean by that is they do the same thing that Ophelia's talking about, where they overcompensate, or the guilt of being a single mother who could not pick an adequate father figure, or did not procreate, or let a man fuck them who had some sense in regards to nurturing, or can't manage their emotions enough to allow the man to come and be a part of their child's life. They just over purchase. We materialize, we over purchase, we over nurture, and we raise boys into men that are female emotional inside, and grown, but still boys, right, in their behavioral patterns. And we also raise girls, right, from a space of teaching them to be too independent based on our negative feelings towards what was done to us by a man, right? And so it puts you in a space where, like you said, you're mothering based on guilt, or parenting based on guilt. And the way that you retract or handle or compromise with yourself on that is you have to get honest that I am working on a balanced environment for my children. This is when, like what I was telling Classy, you start to add, because the only thing that's going to deal with that guilt is you actually adding enough support in this to where whatever I went through with CPS cases, or whatever I went through with not picking the right type of man, I am rectifying and solving, creating solutions. I'm not trying to erase that memory. I'm simply trying to put solutions in space, in place, to where when you become an adult, you are not a statistic or handicapped because of voids. Because having no father is a void. Like having no active father is a void. You have to work on filling that void for your child to get rid of that guilt.
Okay. Okay, I definitely see it too, though. And like you said, the worst product, because my 19-year-old, he used it to his advantage on getting stuff. And I don't like that. You catching attitudes. You're a fucking man catching attitudes. You ain't a girl. But I know I taught fucking attitudes, right? I have them around that male presence. And going back to being too immature to make sure I at least have an adult conversation with their father made it, I'm doing that now. And I had to come to him humbly, as they say in prayer.
Ooh, say it again. You had to come to him what?
I had to fucking come to him humbly, love. And I did. And, thanks to the BC, thanks to y'all, I was able to have that conversation. Like, I really fucked up. And now I know it was me that's the reason why he ain't in their life. But now it's a conversation. Now he called me. I fucked up so bad. He was helping me pay my daughter's tuition to want to go to UCLA. Then I cussed him out, and the motherfucker quit paying. That shit only hurt my black ass. I had help, and then I didn't have help because I couldn't control my emotions, because I felt he didn't move fast enough about his son's situation. And so it just let me realize I was the reason why he didn't come forward, and I'm the reason why I'm stuck with a fucking tuition bill by myself.
And I listen, Ophelia, I want to tell you, from me to you, I respect you so much for being honest, because there are so many of us, especially as urban women and black women, we can't be honest with ourselves that a lot of what our kids don't get from their other parent is because of our nasty ass attitudes and ways. And I'm not even saying we don't have reason to be upset or have a feeling, right? Never saying that. We're allowed to feel. We're allowed to be mad, angry, frustrated, aggravated, anxious. We're allowed all of that. But what we're not allowed to do is just...
It's better control.
Yes. Yes. and allow ourselves to operate very childlike with our feelings. The one of the biggest parts of being a woman and embodying your femininity is embracing and understanding that you feel. I can feel hurt. I can feel bothered that, I felt from my perspective that you should have moved sooner on certain things with your son. And I could have my own, deck of words for you that I want to give you. But if we're talking about parenting, co-parenting, I have to evaluate how the shit affects my kids. There is a lot of what we do and say to another human that we have told ourselves they should just tolerate and do right by these kids that we would never tolerate in any other situation. Like when I put into perspective to some of y'all in a different Zoom, if y'all worked for a company that I own and every time you made any mistake, big or small, I threatened to fire you. After a while, you would develop what sort of attitude towards me saying that?
I don't give a fuck.
Because no human is going to let you use something as a fucking pawn to control them. It may start out that way. Eventually, they catch on. If I keep saying, keep on trying me, I'm going to take my shoes back. I'm going to take that car back. I'm going to take my... After a while, a motherfucker feel like, and this is true even with children, go ahead on, bitch. Take them. If that's what you want to do, take your ass on. You pay for it then, ho.
Yeah. And I had to learn too, though, because I would be frustrated. Case in point, my son got into 2 accidents 2 weeks apart, back to back, because he wilding out. I'm nervous. He ain't go inside the military like he's supposed to. A bunch of stuff, and that would maybe cuss the dad out. And then my son got mad at me, and he had to check me and say my relationship, because I wanted him to be angry like I'm angry. Nigga, he a bet. Nigga, why you ain't mad?
Yep.
And he was like, nigga, so he ain't call me nigga, but for lack of a better word, my relationship with him ain't your relationship.
100%.
And it hurted my heart because he's telling the truth, and I didn't realize I was doing that shit, alienating or
parental alienating when you yep. And there are. I want y'all to understand, like we're a group of women and men that can have this conversation. There are so many of us that we do this, and we will lie and say that we don't, but we persuade our children through all kinds of stuff. And I want y'all to know, grandparents do it too. You got mamas or baby mamas, that are persuading the grandparents to feel, yes. Get online and out in the community and we try to act like in public, right? That this is not what's going on. We say stuff like, well, I don't never talk negative about my son, daddy in front of him, even though that motherfucker don't do nothing. Every bit of your demeanor, your energy, kids pick up on it. They model it. They don't like who you don't like. A lot of times they don't fuck with who you don't fuck with. And we know this without even having to say it. My children can tell when I don't fuck with something. So what I have to do is when there are things that is my business that I don't need my children taking on the stance I take on, guess what I got to do? I have to manage myself better. I have to manage my emotions. I have to set aside certain things I feel so that I could genuinely say, I have not influenced my child to not fuck with you just because I don't fuck with you. We are not some sort of package in regards to the list of things that I'm trying to arm them with in life. There will be resources that are for them that's not for me. And there will be things that are for me that's not for them.
Right.
And you got to be mature enough to say this and sit with yourself on this. Who else in regards to parenting? What else? So I get the guilt. I get the needing to manage your emotions better. I get the needing to become a better communicator.
Hey, love, I found myself.
Oh, I heard 2 people. Whoever want to go.
She got it.
I'll go and then can I go, Frank, please? Can I go?
Yeah, you can go.
Thank you. Okay, so what my problem is, and I can't remember how you worded, but I'm how you would ask, like, who's the person who sways the opinion of everybody in your family?
The opinion leader.
I can't remember. The opinion leader. Okay, so I realize now, I didn't know before, but I'm that person. But it's like, oh, shit, I do not have, I should not be the opinion leader because I got some messed up opinions.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm trying, what my biggest problem is trying to get my kids to realize, like, look, you don't have to go through me for every little thing. So that's my problem right now. Is making them realize, like, hey, I am not your main and only resource.
Right. Right.
No,
And that,
that's
and
where I'm at.
I love that, because that's one of the main things that you guys should have on your parenting list of things you want to instill in your child, right? They need to learn to build key relationships with people that will be resourceful to them throughout their life, even during their childhood, right? The thing to look out for is, like she said, opinion leaders that, because of their status with the family, or, you know, stuff that has went on in the past, in regards to, I don't want to say generational curses, but certain happenings that happen with others in the family that give them a reason to follow behind you. With regard to understanding that, and then understanding the people that are financial manipulators. Like a lot of families have the financial manipulators. They're the opinion leaders, but they only lead with their opinion is only leading, right? In regards to swaying the group because they have more money than others.
Because they got money.
Yeah, so you have to watch out for this and teach your children this, because grandmothers do it a lot. They will come in and because they don't have the everyday responsibility that you have with the child, they will damn near have your child fucking with them harder than they fuck with you. And it looks like a resource, but really grandma is being manipulative, and she's making you and I have a rift in our relationship just because she has the extra money to buy you. And you have a lot of parents that from, you know, the generations above us, they know they didn't do a good job with the way that they handled and parented us. So they're reliving it through being a grandparent, but it's from a very manipulative space. So they will buy your kids excessive amounts of stuff, be that fun family member, and it makes it where your child will damn near run to them when you're trying to discipline or teach them certain things. And it just creates chaos and misunderstandings in the parenting. And I know y'all know what I'm talking about, because in the black community, it goes on a fucking lot. You got the mama that she damn near tell you what to do, and you got to listen, not because she put any money in your pocket specifically, but because she pours into the grandchild out of what looks like love, but it's really manipulation. So it's like, if you ever don't listen to me, I retract back from what I do for the grandchild, or I act a certain way, and it makes my grandbaby upset, and you end up having to come back and kiss my ass because I got a certain route in that you're going to deal with parental turmoil with the child if you don't let me in y'all life.
I got a question. So with my 19-year-old, that's like my exact situation with my mama. Mm-hmm. My mama, you know, she well off. I'm all right, but my mama, she well off. She spoils the shit out of her grandkids, and particularly mine. Particularly mine, especially my oldest. So me and his name is Tavares. Me and Tavares, we got a good relationship, but before he graduated and moved out, it was like really strange because every time I would say something and, you know, discipline, he called his grandma.
Yep. And so I'm gonna tell you, but what?
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, baby.
I never used to say anything back then, but you know, I realized it was a problem. So I had got me and my son some therapy, and I'll just share this with y'all. My oldest son, he is gay. My mom is in denial about that, but whatever. So we did some therapy, and that made it like our relationship so much better, right? Me and my son, when he was like 16, he's 19 now.
But I'm going to tell you, Classy, and I'm interjecting on purpose, you, your mom, and your son needed to have a conversation where certain things are stated while your son sees that your mom is present. Because the idea is when children believe you can tell on me or vent about me to a grandparent or a family member from a space of I'm doing something wrong, I have to lay down the law in regards to boundaries that's not how this works. We're all allowed to have our difference of opinion, and you and grandmother's opinion can align, which I'm sure it will based on her always buying you shit. Do you see where I'm going with this?
Right.
The reason why this is an important lesson is because this is what people do out in the world. Gay or straight, a motherfucker will get with you based on sin. And women, we do this a lot. Get with a person based on seeing where their inadequacies are, pour into them in those areas with the intent to control them. And so If you used to doing this from your grandma doing this with you and your mama when you younger, you are more susceptible to someone who is predatory with this type of behavior. Do it to you when you're older and you won't see it coming. It will look like, oh my God, I found something that's familiar and nurturing like what I'm used to from childhood. Whole time this nigga or bitch buying you stuff, pouring into you with the intent to be able to control you. And usually after a certain period of time, whenever you start having your own mind about certain things, you start to see them get upset or damn near start to say you're using them based on not agreeing with them or doing what the fuck they want you to do. So grandma is priming this boy or, prepping him to be susceptible to this type of shit. And this is why it's important. It's not, when we talk about parenting, it ain't important because it bothers you as the mama. It's important because the lesson that you teaching my child, male or female, is going to soften them up for somebody to come in and take over in this same realm. It's not okay. It ain't got nothing to do with being a boy or a girl. Because some of us have been through it, and then some of us, we know that it works. And we do it to people. You go get you a nigga that's fucked up. Like you in that space where you want to be in a relationship. You go get you a man fresh out of prison or that's fucked up, and you start, you call it help. Like you being a good person or a good woman. But really you only doing all this helpful stuff because once he get himself together, you want him to be obligated or committed to being your man. And so you say you're doing it because you're a good person, but really every bit of what you did was the intent to make him fall for you and stick around and be your partner. And then guess what? When he don't, you get bitter and you act crazy. And if y'all got a baby, you use that baby as a pawn. You act funny. You call the nigga broke, but you knew he was broke when you met him because, of course, you was trying to help him get unbroke and you had no problem with that before the child came. But now to the internet and to the community, this some sort of broke ass nigga. And sometimes it's in reverse. It be a nigga claiming the bitch is a broke ass bitch and she ain't shit and she ain't that. But you came in trying to control that woman with all the gifts and the stuff you buy and the access to certain things that you knew she didn't have. It's manipulation. So if you think about it, the problem with this is not because my mama can afford certain things that I can't to be able to give my child, that has my child seeming like they like her more. It's the fact that you are priming my child to have this particular love language, but not consciously from a space where they could be manipulated.
Right. So over the past about 2 or 3 years,